Welcome, gamers, to another gaming adventure. Today, we'll be exploring the world of the popular Roblox game, Blox Fruits. If you somehow don't know this game, it's based off the anime One Piece, which you've most likely heard of. In this game, you level up, get better fruits, and you sail across the different seas to explore new islands. The fruits have unique abilities that you can use to defeat the enemies or defeat or have PvPs against other players. It's probably one of the most complete games in Roblox. I'll be talking about the main problem with the first sea or the starting world. The problem with the first sea is that after a while, it gets boring. Don't get me wrong, it's very newbie friendly, but after a certain level, there's only really one thing to do, which is farming hundreds of levels. And that is the reason why many new players quit so early before the best parts of the game even arrive. I know when you start, everything needs to be basic so people can learn, but it's a little too basic. There's only really a few features or things that you can do in the first sea. There's fruits, of course. There's swords, guns. There's a couple puzzles, and there's a couple bosses that spawn every now and again. The main two problems about two of those things, which is the bosses and the puzzles. First of all, the puzzles, they're very basic. Even though Blox Fruit did come out a few years ago, and but the puzzles are way too basic. It's not fun to do. It feels like one of those projects that you have to do in school that you don't want to do, but you have to do because it's worth a huge grade. And that huge grade in this case is that you can move on to the second C without doing this puzzle. The second thing is the boss. The two bosses that spawn are not really that great. First of all, the first boss doesn't really do much, and the second boss is way too hard for players that are under 700 levels to actually complete. And this is a huge issue because after you reach 700, after 700, level 700, you can defeat this boss easily, but you don't really need the resources it gives you. So most people don't actually do it. And also, it comes every single 4 hours in a game, and you most likely won't be in a single server in Blox Fruits for 4 hours unless you are a maniac that doesn't have a life. So please go touch grass. I'm joking, by the way. Anyways, yes, those are two big issues with two of those things. The other things is that the fruits are there's the really good fruits are very expensive, but that is a normal thing and that's perfectly fine. And there's actually good fruits that are pretty cheap for you to get. But well, how can you or how can they, the developers, work on this? This year they will be remodeling the entire first and second sea, but I don't think they will actually add anything new. The thing is that they need to add in the first C something that can keep players or eye catching for them to keep playing. And the solution I think it'll be amazing for this is to add C events in the first C. And the first and the second and third C have C events, and they're very fun to do because, well, first off, One Piece is actually surrounded by the ocean and the island, so sea events are kind of a normal thing, and it's very fun to fight these sea events. In the second sea and third sea, there's these monsters that are come out of the water, and then you can just attack them. And you get a lot of resources, and it's very cool. And I think that would be something very cool that would be I could be added in the first sea, but of course a little bit more, more newbie friendly. That is not that hard to do. Also, I think they should add an island that appears every 2 hours for 15 minutes, and that can give you extra loot. And when I'm talking about that, I mean like an island that appears, and then you can fight other enemies that has extra uh, loot that you can take, or even limited items that you can only get from that island, and you can progress that way. In the third sea, there's this thing. In the third sea, yeah, in the third sea, there's this thing called Mirage Island that is pretty hard to find, but it has similar things I'm talking about. For example, it has in the entire sea there's stocks, but there's also advanced stocks, which is in the Mirage Island. In the Mirage Island, that you can get pretty good fruits or even better fruits that in normally in the normal stock, and that's why most people look for it. But also they mostly look for it because there's this thing called the fractal or the mirror fractal. I think that's what it's called, and that's how you can get even better and stronger in the game. Well, also there's other things. For example, you can also adapt or improve the puzzle thing, because puzzles will be amazing in the game and it'll be pretty fun to do. And you can add other puzzles that don't necessarily need for you to progress, but they're fun, and you can get like a new sword, a new gun, and after you complete it and fight a boss and all that. And the bosses that spawn every once in a while, I think they need to be easier, so that, or at least easier but not harder, or not too easy. And I think that would be pretty good, because if you can defeat him and get improvements, and then you can progress way faster. I think if these things are added to Blox Fruits, it'll be way better for new players, and they will be so engaged that they will want to keep playing until the end of the game, which is the level 2550 at this point of the recording. And it'll be great for Blox Fruits to add new things in the first scene, because the first scene feels so plain, since it's the first thing that was in the game when it released. And there's many things they could add, more than the ones that I've already counted for, or the ones I mentioned. And I think they should do something about it. Maybe in the rear model of the first and second seed, they could add more stuff to the first seed that will make it more engaging. Of course, newbie friendly, like I was saying, but something that could catch the eye of the players that are playing the game. And that's a lot of problems with most games. If you don't like it at the beginning, then you most likely won't continue until the end. And if you have a good beginning and then continue that way until the end, and it just keeps getting funner and funner, then you have a new player that will stay by you for the rest of the game, unless they get bored of it. But in Blast Fruits, it's if you like it in the beginning, you probably don't like it until the end. So that's why I think. Blox Fruits is my favorite Roblox game, and I will keep loving it until the end. Of course, like every single game, there's always improvements to make, and I think that is one of the improvements that Blox Fruits should make. And honestly, it's not such a big improvement, but in the short term. But in the long term, I think that would be an amazing improvement that Blox Fruits could make. And if you are watching until the end right now, then please consider subscribing and leaving a like on this video if you did enjoy it. Share this to your friends or families, because it'll be nice to talk to and show my opinion about more video games to more people. And I think that we can make amazing gaming community if you just help me get to that point. I want to do this as a full time job, like mostly every single YouTuber that does this. But I want to do this to help my family as well. So it would be much appreciated if you can support me in those three ways that I mentioned, which is subscribing, liking, and sharing. And I guess that's all for this video. This is technically my first video about gaming, so I put in so much effort in this video, and so I there's nothing else to say. And I'm just gonna say, see you guys in the next video.